morning everyone. I'm at Mark Ashwood in the New Forest, not too far away from Boulderwood, and I've just parked up and I've just come probably about 100 metres into the forest, and it is looking beautiful. You could pretty much drive anywhere in the New Forest right now and it will probably look the same as this. Yeah, this is a very special time of year in the New Forest at the moment. For me anyway, at least. I really love this time of year. And I found this beautiful fallen tree that's lying in some red leaves. There is very little foliage behind it, but I think there's enough separation there to... This is a panoramic shot, isn't it? Look at that. This is probably going to be one of them. This is a very, very tall tree. I can't tell you how high it is, about 50 metres maybe even more. But it is huge. Huge. I might even be looking at two trees there because I can just see there's a little curve just above the top there, but it's still 50 metres tall. Anyway, let's see if I can compose this shot. I'm going to have a little walk around, see if I can get a really nice composition. The problem I have is probably this gorse or the bracken in front. Not gorse. What am I saying? This fern that's died in front of it is creating a bit of a... don't know if you can see it, you can't really see past it when you get down low, so I'm going to have to probably be quite high, but it means cutting out some of the foliage of the trees behind. And you can't really see the sky. Maybe at the root you can, but yeah, I think I've got a good shot here. Probably a little bit close. I'm going to move back a little bit. I think it's stepping up into this bit of bracken here. Even. Alright, my ISO is 200, so I want to get that down. There is no wind here, not a single breath of air. So, yeah, I think we can work with the lowest ISO we can get away with. I'm also going to get the shutter speed to where I need it. Now I'm not stacking the histogram as far right as I can get it, because there is nothing white here. It's not mist, it is just a flat shot, and it couldn't be any more flat actually. There's no sunlight, but I'm hoping we can bump some of those colours out, and that's what it's all about, the colours today. So my panoramic shot, do you know what? No, don't get the root. I think I'm going to start it. There's an oak tree just behind it. I'm going to start there. I'm not going to get the root in. Autofocus. Now I'm focused on the actual tree itself. Take my first shot. 2-second timer. So that's a 2-second shutter. I've got an aperture of f11 and I've got an ISO of 64, and I'm just now going to sweep along that tree, not adjusting anything but changing the camera, moving it along to the left. All the time while I'm doing this, I'm just bearing in mind where the sky is as well. Now I have got some of that fern in the foreground. I'm not too bothered about it. The main interest, or the focal point, is the tree itself that's fallen. Now I have noticed as I sweep more this way, the sun should be rising in that direction. So it is getting lighter towards that direction. I'm going to get one more shot just to clear the ending of the tree. And I think that's it. I'm going to stitch that together, pop some of the colours out, and then hopefully I'll have a nice panoramic shot. And if it's any good, you'll be seeing it on the screen now, I hope. So yeah, that's that shot. Now I've got one in the bag, it just feels a bit more relaxing, and I can take my time now finding my next composition. Just going to remove a couple of white fungus sticks out of the way. Now, I don't mind doing that because they weren't too big, and it makes a difference to the scene because there's not a speck of white here apart from, you know, any sky that leaks through into the image. So to have a bit of white in your image might actually distract people's eye, and you're drawn to it. You're drawn to white, so you're not so much drawn to the dark spaces. So this composition I've gone for, I am going to chop a chunk of this tree out because I find that the moss on the base of the tree trunk is absolutely stunning. And there are greens in this image. There are reds, browns, yellows, greens, and I probably already said greens, and orange. So yeah, I think this image is quite simple. And this kind of sums up the New Forest. Apart from having a horse or a pony in the shot, this pretty much sums up the New Forest to me. I've got a beautiful beech tree before me, and there's a few others dotted down there, probably some oaks in there as well. But I've also got the ferns. Now, most of the ferns down here are dead already. But to have this little green area and then have it mixed with all the autumn foliage is just a little bit different. But this sums up the New Forest for me, so I'm going to get this shot just so, and it's quite nicely balanced as well because it goes from this route to the ferns and then off into the distance into the trees behind. And that's something you kind of have to bear in mind as well. If you put a tree base on one side of the image, you're putting more weight on that side of the image. It's taken up quite a big sizable chunk of it, but if the interest is great on the other side, you're kind of evening it out. I feel like you are anyway. I mean, you could put another tree on the opposite side, that might help weight it out a little bit. On further inspection into that image, I'm just starting to realise that there is quite a bit of reflection or white coming off of the fern. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a go at introducing a polarizer, and hopefully that will take some of that glare off the leaves. So now I've introduced this polarizer, I've now got a new problem. I've actually made it darker. So now I have to counteract that and use an even slower shutter speed, or I could up the ISO and compensate that way. I'm going to show you what it looks like with and without a polarizer. So right now you are looking at the camera, the back of the camera, with the polarizer on. So I'm just going to take it out, and that's it without. Now I would be probably around here, but look at the ferns over here. When I pop that back on, look at the colours. You can see it. Like, there you go, that's without, and that's with. You get deeper, more rich colours with the polarizer on. Even on a flat day, you can pull some of those colours out, and it gives it a lovely vibrant look. I will probably be reducing some of that saturation at post, because sometimes I feel like it's a little bit too saturated, and I like my pictures to be a little bit sort of pastel-y sort of effect to the colours. So yeah, I'll be doing that at post. Anyway, here's the image, and move on. I think I found one here. This composition, for me, and I'll show you, I'm just going to go cut to the chase. So, for me, I love the texture of this fallen tree, and it seems to be the top of the tree. Obviously there's not much more on the top because it's been here for some time. Now what I like about it is obviously the texture, and it has some leaves on it. Now, I feel the only way I can make this work is by including a little bit more. And that means, I do quite like this angle, but I found one already. So I'm going to take you over to it. And as you can see, as I'm moving away, can you see that contrast of leaves from green to like a dark, reddy sort of purpley leaf. Now I think there's something here, and I'm using the tree to cover some of the trees behind it, this main one in the middle. I am struggling a little bit, but I feel like it's to show you the back of the camera, take that off so you can see what I'm looking at. There you go. So from there you can see I've cut quite a sizable chunk of the left out, and it's quite tight on the right because there is a tree that has a little curve in it just towards the end over here, and I don't want to include that in, because if I just zoom this back, you'll see why. I feel like I'm taking your eye away from the main subject just by doing that, look. So you've got extra trees in it, which just kind of makes it more distracting. But if I zoom in and zoom to a point where they're not in it, for me, that works better. So I'm going to take that. I can't tell you how hard this is. I've been trying to walk away from this stump, which has got some amazing texture on it. I think you know it. I've done full circle and come back to it. And the reason why is because I like it so much and I can't get it out of my head. I just love that beautiful texture, and it goes up into a little pinnacle. I struggled to frame it, but what I've come to realise, if I stand back and put the telephoto on, I might be able to get the shot. There is a little bit of sky in the shot. Don't know if I can show you here what I'm going for. I want to try and include maybe a little bit of this. Can you see the little mini Douglas firs there? And maybe there's another one there. The little firs seem to be adding a little bit of a frame to it. And then I've got this lovely tree behind it, which is creating that colour. Now I don't want to include so much of the holly. I think the evergreen's kind of ruining it. But if I just turn to about here, look at that. If I zoom in, maybe that will make a difference. So yeah, just sort of a composition like that maybe, or maybe, you know, don't include this one. Look at that line that runs right through to the back of the image. You can see it? From here in the foreground to the stump, which is the main interest, and then the tree, and then the tree further back. Maybe there's something there. I do find the further back I go, and I've explained this before in some of my videos, you can get some of that sky out just by walking back a little bit and then using a zoom. So I'm going to have a go with that. I just can't help myself. I've just sort of done full circle and I feel like I now need to get it. So yeah, I kind of set the camera up a little bit, but I'm going to change out to the telephoto and maybe get back even further. I'm not sure. You're zoomed in quite a bit there, so I'm going to have to sort that out. And I'll stand you up somewhere where you can see what I'm doing, and I'll show you the back of the camera as well when I've properly composed it and show you what I'm going for. Okay, I'll just set it up and I'll come back to you. Yeah, I've done exactly what I said I'd do. I'd used a bit of the firs on either side to sort of frame this down in the bottom. I think it might be a little bit too much. Kind of regretting that a little bit now, because I feel like it should just be the stump, the tree and the tree further back. But I'm going to have a go anyway. It is just such a lovely textured stump. So there you go, I've got the shot. Now this is f11, ISO 64, and I've got a shutter of 1.3. Which is actually quite slow, isn't it, when you think about it? But I am using a polarizer still, because now the sun is kind of up behind the clouds, it does still create this white sheen on the leaves. So this kind of takes it away a little bit. Right then guys, I'm going to call it a day. I think I've taken quite a few images there. I've really enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed watching. Until next time, I'll see you then. Take care, bye bye.